We currently have the best deal of the year live now on poodlecfb.com. If you use code FLASH, capital F, you get $65 off the annual plan, or if you use code FLASH 2025, capital F, you get $6 off the monthly plan. You unlock exclusive spreadsheets, in-depth info, and our members-only Discord. Come join thousands of other members in the fastest growing and best CFB Dynasty community out there. Don't miss out. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Poodle back with another CFB 26 video, and in today's video, I'll be going over the top 5 things that are ruining your Dynasty. Guys, if you haven't seen already, we're running the best deal of the year over on poodlecfb.com. Currently, right now, if you use code BACK2SCHOOL, all lowercase with the number 2, not the word, you do get 50% off the annual plan. If you use code BACK2SCHOOL 2025, same exact variation, you get 40% off the monthly plan. That is the best recurring deal of the year. You can lock yourself into essentially half off the annual or almost half off the monthly for the lifetime of your membership over on poodlecfb.com. That is an absolutely special deal. Make sure to check it out. We are dropping our CFB 26 guide, which will be a live updating weekly guide with our best data studies, our best data points, and our final thoughts on everything you need to be doing. It is the easiest way to keep up weekly with this is where the game's at, this is what the patch did, this is where we believe to be the best thing to be doing. Got to check it out. And our player weight calculator should be dropping soon as well, which is a super cool tool that we're adding over there. So make sure to check that out. Don't forget to use the code. It is a lifetime grandfathered in deal. So don't miss it. Come join poodlecfb.com. The code will be down below in the description as well as the link. Come check it out. So the first one, I'm using my good old friend, my good old school, Marshall, as you guys have heard from plenty of other videos. And I used the custom coach and I picked a bad school. If there's any complaints in this video, I have nothing left for you guys. Let's go over to my first one, which is you got to be speedrunning your coach. If you're not speedrunning your coach, you are falling behind. Every season or any league you're in, you're going to see some guys who are at level 21 and others who are at level 12, and you're going to start saying, what did they do differently? Outside of the glitch, there is a way to speedrun your coach, and if you're not speedrunning your coach, you're really falling behind. Getting these packages early are just going to compound your growth as a program. So the way to speedrun, I made a video on it earlier in the year, probably like the second week of the game coming out. But to sum it all up, basically, is make sure you utilize your active perks on the left. So as you see, firm handshakes, 100 bonus XP for every recruit. So make sure in the first 2 to 3 seasons that you're utilizing whatever your active perk is. So to speedrun for year 1, what you'd basically do is not spend any of your coaching points. You would just stay at 0 in recruiter, and then right at National Signing Day, when you get your big bonus for all your signed recruits and you get your big level bonus, then you would spend 2 points or one package, whatever, in Motivator, and then Motivator would become your active perk. And I'll show you right here what I mean. Well, you have to be level 10, but when you're level 10, you buy Motivator and you get your first package or 2, and then on the left, your active perk will change to Motivator, which is 7 bonus XP every time a player levels up. So when you sim to training results, then you get a big boost from Motivator. Then when you hit week 1 again, you then spend 1 or 2 points in recruiter and you take recruiter back, and then at National Signing Day the following year, you get your big bonus, and then you keep repeating and you go back to Motivator. And if you don't buy many packages in the first 2 to 3 seasons, you could essentially just kind of active perk farm XP, and that works for whatever. Even if you're a custom coach, if program builder is your main one, make sure yearly you're doing drastic things to get your prestige to change and then increase, which means you could essentially just like purposely nerf things and then bring them back up. If you're CEO, make sure you're winning playoff games. Architect is really cool because it's whenever a player maxes a skill group. So if you have Architect as your main perk, make sure you are going ahead and manually using manual progression, and you keep upgrading mainly things that are capped first to get higher levels. Tactician, make sure you're winning. Strategist is for getting visits during a win, so you could just make sure you're scheduling as many visits as possible, and so on and so forth. They all have a bonus, so just make sure you're utilizing it and you're getting your active perks hitting. And also make sure you're focusing on this screen. I feel like that's something people don't talk about, and that's coach XP goals. When you're in an online league, these are so important. Make sure players get drafted is a huge one. But the game goals, making sure that you're hitting these, get you so much XP, like fumbles recovered, interceptions, pass deflection. So for instance, interceptions, instead of swatting them down if you have easy ones, make sure you're getting the pick, especially if there's strategic moments where you might want to get the extra yardage on a swat of a pick on a 4th down. Make sure you're holding Y. And there's a lot of things here that really just go a long way, like not skipping games, making sure you're playing them, making sure you're upsetting teams, but also in game when you're up by like 20-30 points and you want to just run the game out and kill time, I recommend playing it through and still trying to finish those games out strong, because all the extra sacks you get at the end of a blowout or touchdowns will give you a lot of extra points for your coach. Just make sure you're keeping these in mind. The next was going to be not stacking bonuses. So I want to clarify something everyone's been talking about, and that's like, oh, I saw this YouTuber or this guy on Reddit, and Motivator tier 3 isn't actually worth it. It only gives you a few extra skill points per year, whatever. It only gives you an extra 2%. Remember, everything stacks in this game, or at least it's supposed to. Some of them that we've tested in the past haven't, but Motivator does. So if you have Motivator tier 3, which is going to be an off-season training boost, put in the work, let's just say you were supposed to get 50 training points or 50 skill points at the end of the year. Let's say tier 3 gets you to 60. Maybe you're like, an extra 10 points isn't really worth it. But if your coordinator has it and your defensive coordinator has it, or let's say one coordinator has it, now that 2% boost goes to like a 6% boost. Now let's say it goes to a 65 points. Then if you have a third coordinator with it, now it goes to 80. Now it's a 30-point boost. Now you may still be saying, oh, it's only 30. But remember, if you get 30 extra skill points per year because all 3 of your coaches have motivator tier 3, that's 30 times 4, let's say, assuming 4 years. That's 120 extra points. That's basically an extra season or 2 of growth that you're getting on a player. So yes, it does work. So make sure you're stacking your bonuses. I hear from people being like, I'm going to get motivator on my one coach, my second coach is going to be talent developer, my third's going to be strategist, and I'm going to get everything. It doesn't work that way. You want to be, it was the same reason last year of getting triple elite recruiter. You were absolutely dominating recruiting. All the things stack. So I like to see it as a compounding effect. Let's think of it like if it's a 2%, a secondary one is now 6%, and another one's like 15%. You like compound growth. You don't grow at the same. It's not like it's 2, 2, 2, or it's 2 across the board, or as long as you have the package, it's going to work. Make sure you're stacking bonuses. That is so huge for actually getting the results you want with any package. So just make sure when you're getting your coordinators, you're trying to do that. If you're a poodlecfb.com member, we have our spreadsheet that shows every package of every coordinator. So in the off season, if you want to see, if you see like 5 coordinators needs to get an offer and you're not sure who has what, if you check out the spreadsheet, if you're already a member, you can go in and actually see what they already have. You can also see who got fired and see who might be worthwhile getting. So definitely stack your coordinators, super important. The next one, guys, as I've said in a few other videos, it is so important for you to actually process where you stand in your league. Let's say you're in a league of 32 guys, 32 people generally, maybe 25, maybe 22. Point is, know where you stand. In every league, there's the elite teams, there's the bad teams. And remember, some leagues let 5-star teams be in the same leagues as guys with 2-star leagues. All I'm saying is process this. Are you a top 5 recruiter? Whether that's skill-wise or even team-wise. You may know what to do, but if you're Marshall and someone in your league is Georgia, you're not being a top 5 recruiter in a league that has 5-star teams or teams like Marshall. So understand where you stand. If you are not a top 5 team consistently in recruiting or winning, take a different approach. I posted a video going over my new coach build, which is my alternate build, and I think this applies to like 85% of players. This is going to be utilizing strategist and talent developer. If you're not utilizing strategist as a school that's not a top 5 recruiter, you are messing up. Tier 1 through 4 are so important for schools that are not top 5 recruiting schools. Why? Let's start with the first one. And you're really making a mistake if you're trying to be a recruiter as a school that's not a top 5 recruiting type school. Boost complimentary visits. This gives you a bonus when doing complimentary visits. So it's a secondary strategy if you don't have all the recruiting hours and all the recruiting prowess. But more importantly, 2, visits have a bigger impact. Again, this allows you to, visits are one of the few things in the game that allow like an upset, an underdog win. That you could beat LSU or Georgia because you had a big visit and they didn't have a visit on them. Especially as a smaller school, you can focus on proximity guys, 10-point visits, get more visits in, all of that. But more importantly are these final 2. Tier 3, lower the bar. Lower deal breaker threshold is going to put you at a big advantage versus other schools. Why? You retain more talent, you'll bring in more talent in the transfer portal, and you have access to more talent because of lower deal breakers. As a smaller school or a non-top 5 school, this is huge because you're going to be in situations where you're losing your roster consistently, and they're not. But tier 4, the most important one, is increased chance to learn a dev trade. I dropped a recruiting method where basically you could just one-tap every player and just see their recruiting, their dev trade, and that allows you to actually go ahead and cherry pick elite and star devs. And that puts you in an advantage because while these top schools are bringing in all this top talent, but some are impact devs, some are normal, they get lucky with the occasional star elite, you could just cherry pick all star elite devs and at worst impact, and then utilize the talent developer build and have a much higher ceiling, and that way you can meet all these top teams. If you're not doing this as a school that's not a top 5 recruiter or a top 5 winning team, you are hurting your dynasty. If you haven't already, check out my alternate coach build and check out my strategist recruiting method. But hopefully this was enough for you guys to kind of get an idea. The next one is not emphasizing player development enough. In CFB 26, player development, I think, might be king. I think that's the name of the game. Recruiting and elite recruiter is still powerful. Elite recruiter is still very powerful. But again, to my last one, if you're not a top 5 recruiting team, it's not as powerful because by the time you get up to elite recruiter, you have Georgia, you have LSU, all these teams that already have it and they've been utilizing it, and you're going to fall behind. So rather than counteract that, elite recruiter takes a few years to unlock. Go the developing route. Get motivator tier 3. Get talent developer up to tier 3. Get strategist up to tier 4. You can go the talent developer route and you'll get to the same finish line. Think about like just it's like 2 different roads. There's a left road and a right road. Both roads get you to the same finish line at around the same time. The left road is just a lot harder. That's unlocking elite recruiter. That's out recruiting the top programs. While recruiting is fun and it's really fun to beat your friends out and get top recruits, if you're Marshall or you're like Nebraska and you have people in there that are Texas, UGA, LSU, and you can just accept that you're not going to be a top 5 recruiter, you can then go ahead and just maximize talent developer, strategist, make sure you're using the spreadsheet to cherry pick some elite coordinators that you know can like complement that, then you're going to end up in a situation where in the offseason you're getting 120 to 200 points XP on a player while they're only getting 70 to 100, and now you're able to just quickly get your players up to their thresholds with how easy it is to upgrade this year at manual upgrading. And if you are auto, that's fine too, because you're going to get so many points that'll just upgrade everything. The problem with last year wasn't auto. The regular version of upgrading was that they'd upgrade their IQ and their health first and like some of the dumb stuff, and you didn't get a lot of points. This year, with how good player development is, and it might be king, if you're not utilizing it or emphasizing it, you are falling behind. The last one is understanding what this setting is and hearing these next few words very carefully. There's auto progress players either on or off, and knowing your penalty. If your penalty is anything above a 3%, make sure you're following this method, or in general, what I'm about to say. Right now, this progression penalty is a tad broken, and it's supposed to be like, let's say if you were to get 10 skill points, let's say 8 skill points for something, if you have 25% penalty on, you would only get 6 because you would lose 2 of them because that's 25%. Right now, during the season, if you have this on, you basically, outside of the training results period, you basically get screwed and you lose almost 90% of everything. For whatever reason, they haven't fixed it yet. So right now, you have to be following the method of switching this. So what you want to do is, before every game you play, if you have manual progression on and there's a penalty, you want to turn auto progress players to on. That way you play the game and you get your XP and your in-game goals and you get your maximum XP. Then before you advance the week, you want to hit off. That way you can then keep your points. They don't auto use them, but you accrue them at the highest interval. So with this on, you'll accrue XP at a 0% penalty, but then you turn it off so you retain it and you can just manually spend it. This is the best way to do it. And you could do this all season, and you could even do it for the draft phase, so you get your draft bonus from Talent Developer Tier 1. The only week you have to have this completely off is going to be for the training results period. That way you can go manually upgrade everything, because once you advance to the training results period, they will auto spend it. So the week before that, make sure you turn it off. Now, again, if you're in a league, I know some people commented, like, can't you just put this on 0? Let me clarify, there's a few things. Yes, if you're in an offline league, just put it on 0. Some people just didn't even know. Some people just have it on to like kind of limit manual progression. They don't know. Other leagues have commissioners. There's 32 members and only one commissioner, maybe 2, and they could be hard-headed about it. We're like, we're not changing it. We don't care what they say. We're leaving it on 25. You need to have methods like this so you don't get screwed by it. So make sure you're doing that. This goes a long way in the high-end ceiling of your team for making sure you get all your XP. We did some testing where if you simmed a season just for the national championship and you had it on 25 and you simmed it with the auto on, auto off method like that, you'd have like 12 to 17 points. If you didn't do it, you'd have 1 to 3 points. And on the lower end, you could have like 6 points. So anywhere between like 6 and 17 points, or 0 to 3. That's a huge difference. That's more than double. And in some cases, like 400, 500% increase. Make sure you're doing this, because you are losing so much XP in a game where you can get to 99 overall relatively quickly if you follow all these steps. Guys, that's about it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope these steps do help you out. These are the top 5 things that are ruining your dynasty if you're not following them. From coach builds, to coach growth, to player growth, to losing XP, to losing skill points. Make sure you're following these things. If you're not, you're hurting yourself. Over on poodlecfb.com, we have a lot more stuff like this to make sure you're not doing this, and there will be a section in the guide that is dropping within the week on all the things that you can be doing to ruin your dynasty, kind of like the end all be all, what not to do, what to do to make it easier for everyone to digest. And if you haven't already, check out Chalkboard Fantasy, guys. We did just partner with them, and as promised, we got our Poodle membership, a special code. It gives you $20 absolutely free. Like I said earlier, make sure to check it out. There's no strings attached. You sign up, you get free money to play with. You don't want to miss it. And with game day coming up, preseason coming up, we're going to have a blast in the upcoming CFB and NFL season. And if you're in Poodle CFB already, if you're over in the Discord, we do have a channel just for it. So if you want to talk ball, share some picks, share winning picks, and kind of chop it up in there, that is the place to do it. So if you're already a member, you have free access to it. So go check it out. Thank you for watching, guys. I'm out. Peace.